Hello, friends. Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast about beer and video games. I don't know what episode it is. I haven't got my book out, so it's 220 something. And Ben, maybe, yeah, 226. We'll say it's that. That's what it is now. I'm Ben. Here with Lucy.
That's a nice number.
You ignoring me? Hi.
No, I'm just saying.
Good. Hi, Aadil.
226 is a nice number.
Oh,
it's like a square number or something. Yeah.
I am also here. That is correct.
We'll just roll on with this now, shall we? No beers this evening, no gaming talk. We're just going to talk about odd versus even numbers.
Yes.
226 seems fine. That's an alright number. You've got
Yeah!
2 2s and a 6.
Is it?
Pretty
I'd say it's the
even.
226 best number. Out of all of them.
Where does zero
So you
rank
don't think
in that?
zeros? Yeah. Ben and I got there at the same time.
Oh man, let's open
I'd
some
say
beers.
zero's number 227.
Just throw the whole system out of
Yes.
place.
I'm very confused, but I love it.
Good. What a grand start we've got off to. Let's open beers. Lucy, I'm coming to you first while I'm taking my socks off because it's too hot. What beer
Okay.
opening?
Lucy just put on socks. What is this, sock day?
It's freezing up here. It's cold up north, so yeah. What shall I drink first? I don't even know what any of these beers are because I didn't look beforehand.
Blind beers. Love
Mystery
it.
beers.
I'll start with the smaller can. Get through that quicker.
Yeah.
This is a beer from Mothership, and it's
nice.
called Seeds of Hope. It's a hazy peach pale ale. With this beer, we are supporting Black Girls Camping Trip, and the not flavor text, but there's some more information here. It says, if I'm pronouncing this right, Wangari Maathai, the first female African Nobel Peace Prize winner, environmental and women's rights activist, and founder of the Green Belt movement, which has planted over 51 million trees in Kenya.
Nice.
Seeds of Hope, the name of the beer, is the second beer in our Extraordinary Women series, celebrating pioneering women who have broken down boundaries and stood up for women's rights. Illustration is by Erin Annika. Got a nice look to it.
Nice.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
4.7%. Yeah, this is a 330ml can. Yeah, they say it's got peach and apricot in the ingredients, so, and oats. So
Perfect.
yeah,
The can's a nice
That's it.
departure from their standard sort of white and yellow fare that they have normally.
they still got a lot of yellow branding
Oh, yeah.
at the back. Yeah, it's nice.
Good. Good. Aadil, what are you going to open today?
I'm going to start with the wild focusing problems. The wild beer Quantic. Wow, my lighting has gotten weird this week because now everything is super shiny. Yes, the wild beer Quantic. It is a session IPA. 4.7%, he says, because he knew it the whole time. 4.7% citrus, fresh pine, and extra pale. Drink wildly different. Quantic, the homogeneous function of two or more variables having rational or integral coefficients, or as we say, fresh citrus, passion fruit, and pine flavors from Simcoe, Mosaic, and Cascade hops. Really digging that quantum thing, but then sort of not. It's an odd flavor text.
It's also it's a bit of an odd coloured can as well. It's very difficult to see whether it's kind of greeny or yellowy or.
I believe the color is pomelo.
Oh.
I say that because I painted a feature wall in my house in Calgary, pomelo, because I was looking for this yellowy greeny color. Pomelo is the one that we decided on.
Oh, there you go.
But also, it does look like the skin of a pomelo, but then neonish a little bit.
What Pantone
Looks like
colour?
limoncello.
Oh, yes. That's from a Beer 52 box, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I was gonna check in with you because I know you've had it.
I have. One of my first beer this evening is also from that. I think it's from the same beer 52 box. This is Tanker. I've never had anything from Tanker before. This is Oh My Citra, a triple dry hopped IPA. It's 6%. It's got an image of the Scream with a.
I didn't get that one.
Hop head. Oh, maybe we get different style boxes.
I think they do have a bit of a juggle, but yeah, looks good.
There is no flavor text. Nope, none. It just tells me it's got water, oats, barley malts, hops, and yeast. IBUs are 85. It's a full 40ml can. Tanker Brewery are from Estonia. There you go.
I keep thinking you're going to say Tanker Gin.
No, not quite. Nearly.
I would love that.
Lucy, we'll come back to you in the Mothership.
Already? Oh, yeah. Things are moving quick. I'm in such a relaxed mood. Yeah, you're definitely getting a lot of citrus on the aroma. Yeah, a little bit of peach. Yeah, it's nice. Nice, sweet, fruity aroma to it. It smells like peach yogurt.
Oh. I think it's those oats just giving it a little bit of creaminess.
Yeah, possibly. It's more sour than I would have thought. It's got a little bit of tartness. It's quite thin, a bit watery. But you're definitely getting like those peach flavors. So yeah, maybe I didn't put this in the fridge for long enough. I only put it in for about last hour and a half. I would have thought that would have done it, but hasn't got much carbonation to it. Not much fizz or anything.
Was Mothership?
Yeah, it's not too hoppy.
Was Mothership the brewery that had a couple of sours on at the Bristol Craft Beer Festival last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely had a few from them.
Yeah, and I've definitely
that was the one I missed.
a Brute IPA from them as well,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I mean, last summer was the summer of the Brut IPA.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Yes. I think they still might. I think that might be one of the core range, that Brute IPA. I'm not sure. It might be the one that they have in like Tesco or something.
Oh yeah, yeah they do. Yeah, they have one in Tesco. Yeah, forget that.
But yeah, it's got a nice citrusy, peachy flavour to it. It's not got much body to it. I'd expect a little bit more for like 4.7%.
Yeah.
Slightly tartish. Yeah, I think I would just prefer a bit more hoppiness, a bit more body to it, but the foundational flavour is pretty good. It's quite nice.
Nice.
Pleasant. Yeah.
Good. It's where I was going with my not tangent, but the callback to the beer festival. I think everything I've had from Mothership has had some kind of slight sourness or tart nature to it. You know, they're doing some non-standard stuff with their beers, or at least the ones that I have had, which seems to continue on with kind of what they're doing here as well.
Yeah, the few beers that I've had from them, I've enjoyed them. They haven't blown me away or anything, but yeah, they've got some solid beers. So.
Nice.
This is another one.
Good. Aadil, we'll come back to you. Wild have got some solid beers.
Yeah, so this is quite see-through on the pour. Like you can actually like see my face through it. Like it's been a while since I've had beer this clear, unless I'm slumming it with like a Stella or something. Nose is really nice. You get that citrus, slight tropical note there too, and then a hint of that pine. I think they mentioned. Definitely have that sort of. This is 4.7%. It's exactly what I want from a session IPA. That 0.7 versus like sometimes you see is a 4.2 really makes a difference. I think it keeps the taste rounded in a way that it sometimes isn't. Easily the thing that stands out is like as the main taste starts to fade and at its peak and then down is that pine is there. It's not super in your face, but is the main sort of thing going on as ever like that's steady. So it sort of starts. The whole thing is quite a delicate taste, I would say. Nothing's in your face, but it starts a little citrusy. That slight tropical note I had in the nose, not really showing up in the taste. It's sort of, okay, this is a bit citrusy. This is kind of just like a good pale ale with some citrus notes, and think like inoffensive lemon. Maybe a touch of lime, which actually might explain the sort of pomelo coloring of the tin. But like really not that tart, and then it's sort of like a cool. We're done that, and then it's like, oh, by the way, my friend Mr. Pine has been here, and he's gonna take the rest of the way. And it's just this light pine finish. That lingers. You don't really notice how bitter it is until the sort of citrusy part leaves. And it's this very drinkable, nice, refreshing. This is a thing. If nothing else happens and it doesn't sort of develop through the rest of the can, I would probably grab another one if I was looking for a session and just like in the sun, just having a nice, inoffensive, but not plain pale ale. Does that match sort of how your experience?
Yeah, really well. I think when I drank it, the main thought I had was it was very light throughout all of its elements that were going on. I maybe got a touch more lime than you're picking up on. I think that the way that I experienced it, the lime definitely outbalanced the lemon a little bit. It did get both. But yeah, leading into that very, very light sort of pininess, and I felt exactly the same. Super sessionable, really easy to drink, and would be a nice little sort of fridge filler beer for a hot weekend.
Yeah,
I like that. Fridge filler.
Fridge filler is a great term. Yeah, like my non-crappy beer fridge filler is probably has been the Brew lager for a while, and I kind of had a little too much of it. Also, I generally, if I'm looking for a nicer beer, I'm not reaching for a lager.
That's a danger.
So this would fit really well there because it's, if I can get like a 4-pack of this and go to a field or a park, as we need to when we want to hang out with our friends, I would easily just have 4 cans of this and just idly sip instead of pounding 4 Stellas and then bumming some wine off of someone and then realizing that's not COVID apparent, and then God knows what else will happen. Hypothetically.
Wine before beer and all that rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never known those rhymes appropriately.
I think they're
wine before
probably
beer,
offensive and not true. So
never been sticker. Liquor before sticker. Why are you? Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing. I don't remember how they go. Is what I'm saying. I know it's
good.
Liquor before beer. There's something about something in liquor and cigar. That's all.
I know it's beer before wine, and you'll feel fine.
Yeah.
Like wine before beer, and you'll feel an offensive word. That
exactly. It doesn't hold up now.
No.
Oh. I think I'm.
Yes.
Does it start with a Q?
Yes.
So, I mean, it might not actually be the offensive use, but it's just definitely not
sure.
The people who coin these things and
I take
pub goers and
PUBG players,
Yes. Brendan Green himself may not have, had the best usage of that term, but I think it's all nonsense anyway.
I think it was
just
always...
don't mix drinks, regardless the order.
Or mix drinks, but be prepared.
Or mix drinks, yeah.
And
Actually, just drink in moderation.
That's impossible.
There's a guy who was like, I'll just have 2 8% beers last week.
That's moderation. Come on. Anyway, yeah, that's interesting. Your limoncello beer. Both on the 4.7s today.
Well, I'm bumping up a little bit. I'm on 6.
A little bit.
Yeah.
This is
There's the alcoholic. Yeah.
Yeah, now we know who you
That's
are.
my next one. My next one's going to be a dipper, so we'll lean in a little bit later.
I'm rocking light this week.
Nice. So this was a triple dry hopped IPA, and it does not have much on the nose at all. Not what I would expect from something that is dry hop, let alone triple dry hopped. It's very, very light, little bit of citrus, but it's just not much at all. Not quite as clear as Aadil's. Little translucent note, just a slight bit of haze to it.
Like a slight haze, yeah.
Just see my finger throughout. Very straw.
You see, like shadows, but not details.
Yes. It was very carbonated when I first poured, but that seems to have dissipated quite quickly. Even filling the glass has kept that sort of head very low. Flavour-wise, it's an interesting beer. Not what I was expecting. So, called Oh My Citra, so I'd expect it to be sort of full of citra, and you are getting very light citrusy flavours. There's a little bit of lemon in there, but it doesn't get quite as far as this, but it edges towards that slight soapy kind of coriander flavour in there. There's just that kind of slight flavour at the back, accompanied by this slightly thicker mouthfeel as well, which just makes the combination of those two make it feel that little bit soapy. And then all of that disappears, and then this quite bitter pininess comes out of nowhere. It's sort of quite an odd mix. It's sort of these slight citrus, a little bit of soapy flavour. It's like, nope, that's gone. Here's some bitterness. Take that. Have that for a while. Sit with it. It's like, that's a bit of an odd. There's no like transition between the two. It's just, oh, here's this now. Have it.
Oh, that's
Mr. Bitterness, Mr. Pine's cousin.
yeah.
Took you to town.
It's such an. It's such a strange kind of the first few sips. Now it's starting to, as that bitterness is sat there still, and I'm now sipping it. I'm getting those initial flavours with that background of bitterness kind of still there, and that works a little bit better. But the first couple of sips, just a little bit jarring. We'll see how this one develops. Maybe as I drink it more, and my palate becomes a little bit more accustomed to what's going on, and combines those flavours a little bit more, perhaps. But let's get on to games. All the topics and things that we would like to talk about. Lucy, I'll start with you this week. How you doing? What do you want to chat about?
I'm good. I will start with a game that actually came out today. Recording this on the 25th of August. It's called Jessika. Jessika with a K. It's very much in the vein of like a Sam Barlow game.
Right.
I think we can use that coinage as, oh, you're a detective on this, using basically a computer interface. Very much the UI is just very much like a computer screen, and you've got a little bit of ambience in the background. You're working in a cafe, but basically you're playing as this person who's just joined up this like kind of tech startup company where they offer services to people, the aggrieved who have lost people, and they basically want to access their computers, their social media and stuff like that after they've passed, which sounds horrendous, but it also sounds like, that could offer quite a lot of closure and stuff like that. The particular case that you're working on this time is for someone called Jessika, and she committed suicide. And you're basically digging through archival FMV videos, because it wouldn't be one of these games without the FMV, to try and see what motivated this and what actually transpired. What I like about this game is I think that the UI and the interface is probably the best I've experienced in this kind of game.
Nice.
Wow.
It has, because like Telling Lies last year, it was I wasn't fond of the story of Telling Lies, and some of the interface was a bit clunky. Scrubbing through videos and stuff like that. And those videos would go on for like, sometimes they went on for like 8 minutes in Telling Lies. Where shorter clips, I mean, maximum you're going to get is like the videos that you unlock at a certain point that the plot moving forward. Most of them are about maybe 30 seconds long. There's a lot of them. I didn't manage to find all of them, but I think I found about 150 to.
Wow.
I think it's probably around 200, which that's a lot of film.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if they use that to
full advantage.
Yeah, which I'll get to later. But yeah, the interface is really easy to use and really intuitive, and it's got things where just quality of life improvements over something like Her Story or Telling Lies, where you can star certain documents and certain videos that you can consult to later. It sort of goes into this other folder. The main tool that you use is like this decryptor, where you just use search terms. It's very Her Story. You type for search terms, and if a video contained that word, it'll bring up all the videos that alluded to that or contained that word, and some will be obviously locked off for story progression reasons, and some will be available to you. The more it sort of has these degrees, like it'll have this padlock on the document or the video. If it's like green in shade, it means you only have to probably dig around a little bit more to see other videos, and then this one will unlock. And then it goes amber and red. Red being you need to dig a lot deeper to be able to unlock this video.
How are you digging deeper? Is it a sense of you have to find things like passwords and answer security questions to be able to get more of this information, or is it
I thought it'd be more of that.
Is it just gated for a sense of progression, really?
Yeah. Because it's like Her Story was the same. I mean, you can't just type in murder and go to the last video and have the whole plot revealed to you. It does it in a way where if you type in family, we're going to surface which is the first video you get usually talks about her father and stuff like that, so reasonable you will to draw the conclusions like, I will search for father, family. So it basically brings to the surface the ones that are not plot critical, but will contain things like, she talks about her dad, and her dad gave her this dog, and what is the dog called? The dog's called Waldy, and then you start searching for the dog, and that might give some insight into then her mother or a sibling or her boyfriend and stuff like that, and you just dig deeper. It's well gated, the progression, so it's not like everything is revealed to you, and it's only about I think I played for about 3 hours, so and I saw the conclusion, which it sort of came out of nowhere. I wanted to do a bit more digging prior to that. I could see where the story was going, basically, but I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, it is very much. I wanted to dig around a little bit more, but the story presented itself to me, like the last video that she recorded.
Just as a point on that, it might be something that you get to in a minute. Does the game kind of lean into like her death? Does it have a trigger warning? Is there anything kind of like that associated with any of these sorts of videos? Or
there is a trigger warning at the beginning of the game. It does it in a way that when you're logging onto the computer originally, it's like it says it's sort of like in world, but it's like there are some themes and topics that they go for. They certainly go for them. That's the thing, they go for them, and I think pat on the back for doing so. But I think there are some times where I think it falls a little flat, and they don't quite,
right.
You know, as Aadil said, take full advantage of this theme, and there's some things where it's, you know, very coarse of offensive language that's just put in there, and it's like, you already got your point across. You don't need to put these. They are racial slurs in the game, so you don't need to put that in there. It's like, we got the theme, we got the message, you know, and it's like that could have been handled better. As I say, they go for it. They're trying to put across a message. I think the actress who, she's German. The game's set in German. It's made by a German team called Try Games. It's got, you know, German voice acting. What's really cool as well is that you can change subtitles and dubbing to English. You can just turn it on and off and stuff like that. Subtitles from English to German if you want. It's really seamless in that way, which is cool.
So it's dubbed in English and German?
Well, she speaks in German, but yes, the dubbing is... Yes, the dubbing... You can have dubbing or in English, subbing in English, but the actress is German. But
gotcha.
So yeah, so the lip syncing is a bit off if you have the English going on, but
gotcha.
Yeah, but the actress, I mean, she doesn't have the best script to work from, but I think she really does a good job of it, you know, especially in like a few hours worth of video. I think she does a tremendous job at it. I just wish the meaning of the game is, whilst it's like commendable to like actually try and make a point of this, and going back to the trigger warnings, they also offer like links at the end of the game, like, you know, suicide helpline and stuff like that, and, you know, stuff like that. So that's good, but I think there's an overuse and over reliance on just kind of getting like a kind of a bit of a, not shock factor, because that's a bit harsh, but like they're trying to evoke like some like a feeling in you, and it's like, yes, unless you're a terrible person, it's like, yes, I got the picture. Like, right. You know, you don't need to go that far.
Being a bit edgy about it because it's already established.
I wouldn't call it edgy. I think that's still, it'd be disingenuous to say that. But yeah, it's just, I think they went too far to. It's not edginess. It's just like that. I think it's like, yes, I realise that it's kind of hard to talk around the plot because I don't want to spoil it. But it's kind of like, yes, this is a horrible person. This person has horrible beliefs and stuff like that. I'm not going to. There's no middle ground on this. It's like, right, you got me, and it's like, I know it. I know how this person feels, and I understand it. You then don't have to. It's exposition. It was too much exposition in a way that's not pleasant. Whereas, like, I was playing it, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't really need to hear that, you know. It's like, right, I got the picture. But yeah, I will say, like, for the 2 hours that I, you know, was playing through until I got the ending, I like that gameplay. I like that gameplay loop of feeling like you're just uncovering slowly this plot, and you feel smart every time you search for a term, and it just brings you back these results, and it's like, oh, I found a new video, oh, I found this. And yeah, it's funny because, like, when I played her story, I took so many notes, and this has got like a notepad in game. So it's like they know that that's the gameplay loop, and it kept me intrigued until the ending. I'd say what a good thing about games of this style is that the way the plot is like drip fed to you, it keeps you interested, even if the plot doesn't turn out to be that good overall. Because I thought Telling Lies story was just like, what is this? By the end of it, but I really enjoyed the actors, performances and where I thought it was going, trying to fill in the blanks for myself. I really like that aspect of these games, and this was a really good job of that. I think just by the nature of the gameplay loop, but yeah, I think it just falls a little flat. The story, it doesn't quite have that emotional shock, that kind of like visceral reaction to the end of the story and where the plot went. But yeah, I think it's a really, really well made. I really like the UI and how they integrate that into the game, and yeah, those quality of life things. But yeah, there are a few weird things about it where it's like kind of hard to address without just revealing the whole story.
Do you know if this is the developer's first game of this style? Is it? Do you know
I had never
at all?
heard of this developer prior to this. I will go on their website, but
It'd be interesting if they've
they
sort of tested this out with maybe itch games, and or whether they've seen the success of like Her Story and just thought, well, we could do this. Let's try and this is their kind of like break into that style of game, and it may only be that future titles from them follow this kind of genre and only get better.
Yeah. Yeah, this seems to be the only game by the looks of it. Which is, I mean, just looking from the Google search, it says, Try Games, we make stories. And this is definitely a game where I much appreciate the actual framework of the game, more so than the story that they created. So it is very much in that order. But yeah, as I say, like if someone could transplant a really like enrapturing story onto this framework that they built for this game in particular, because I think Her Story was a thing of its time, and the story isn't, when you think about it, isn't revolutionary. The story is probably second to what that game actually is for me anyway. So I think if someone had a really, really good story put on this kind of the excellent UI and quality of life gameplay that they made for this game, then someone could be really onto something. So.
I think everyone's kind of reaching for sort of the critical success of something like Her Story, and I think the only thing that's kind of come close, which is a similar kind of game in terms of what you're doing, but very, very different, is Return of the Obra Dinn. Like, again,
massively.
A masterful fucking game, but very, very different than this sort of thing. Her Story, as you say, very much a product of its time. Return of the Obra Dinn kind of took that kind of concept and just stepped it out and took it somewhere else. And I think they're the kind of the games that are going to be lauded, the ones that maybe stick around this storytelling idea and how those things are delivered, but do something radically different with that, or something so well done that is going to be sort of like the next title, rather than alright story, enjoyed the game and how it did it, but very similar to these other examples that it's kind of not emulating as such, but it has taken elements from.
I was it was funny because whilst I was playing it, I was thinking about the Obra Dinn. I was like, oh, a really good game that was, just phenomenal. But that's Jessika with a K. It's out on Steam today. I believe it's got launch discount, 20% or something.
Nice.
So, check it out.
Currently £8.39. That's how you say that. £8.39.
It's one way to say it.
Yeeps.
I'll briefly talk about Next Stop Nowhere, which is not a narrative game, so I will not spend long on this because I can't really talk about it without spoiling that narrative. It's Night School Studios.
Oh yeah.
Their next game, Apple Arcade exclusive for now. It's basically a space globe-trotting rescue mission that lasts about probably 3 hours. The gameplay is very minimal. It is very much that Night School Studio kind of tinge that where it's like, oh, we focus way more on getting good voice actors and having dialogue that sounds very natural and prioritizing that over any gameplay. The small bits of gameplay in this are needless, to be honest. It's like you're walking around, very light puzzle solving. It's like the same puzzles like throughout the entire game, and navigating a ship through asteroid belts, and it's like, yeah, this is basic. This is barely a game, but what's so good about it is the voice acting. You play as this guy called Beckett, who's really charming, really, really good protagonist, and basically meet this like kind of this woman who used to be a bounty hunter. Her son's in trouble. You gotta go find her son. You get on the ship, fly the ship, speak to all these colourful characters. It's basically like Futurama, and that's it. And it's great.
Nice.
Except for all the bugs.
Oh.
Which is, it's so buggy it's almost unplayable. Which is a shame. Yeah, it's nuts. It's like, characters would do like, not T-poses, but other weird poses like
I mean, it's almost... I'd rather them do T-poses, because then it's like, oh, you forgot to like do a thing, versus
this is better than a T-pose though, actually, because it was like the woman who I was with was sitting in the ship, and she was like kind of leant back, like, when you're cruising, you're driving, and you're like doing one-hand driving. She was sort of in that position, and then we walked into a cafe, and she was still in that position, just like
brilliant
in a seated position, hovering about. Yeah. Exactly that. And I had like a lot of sound bugs where the sound of the ship would just play constantly, this kind of whirring noise, and it took a lot of restarts. But as I say, like the writing in their games is just so incredible. It's like they should write every game. That team,
Link them up.
I mean,
these two games, link them up, mate.
Yeah.
They sorry, did it come out today? Did you say?
That came out, was it last week or the week before?
Okay.
Next Stop Nowhere, yeah, that's the name of it. Apple.
Oh, on Arbor,
exclusive, yeah.
Did because didn't After Party, which was their previous title, that only came out last year, right?
Yeah.
How big is this studio? Is it? Did they move
they're really small.
Yeah, did they move straight onto this? Is that maybe part of the issue that I know we talked around the idea of and the issues that some developers have had with Apple Arcade, and the fact that whoever is the exec at Apple Arcade kind of turned around to a load of people and went, yep, sorry, we're pulling the plug on this, we're not going to make this story anymore, or we're not going to make your game, we're not going to fund it anymore, maybe unless it's at a certain percentage, or you can prove to us that you are a certain percentage of the way through. And they just went, we've got to make this. We've got, we've thrown enough funds and our time into this that we just have to say, yeah, we're at 80%. Let's get it out, sort of thing.
Could be. Yeah, because the game is small in scope anyway. Obviously, never intended it to be like some, massive thing. But maybe they spent all their budget on voice acting. Wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, it just seems like, yes, this was pushed out the door a bit too quickly. That doesn't seem like... It just seems like it needed a few more weeks of QA, and that's it. So it may well just be a budget thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, we cut funding, get it out the door now. I don't know.
And we probably
it's a shame.
never
I
know.
think it will... yeah, probably not. I mean, Apple and their walled garden, no one's ever going to find out. And if they do, they'll probably be killed. But
Jason
if it
Schreier's got a target on his back, an apple-shaped target.
If they launch it on like different platforms, I'm sure it'll be in a much better state. So, which I hope it does, because it's fun. It's their like style of writing and humor should be, available to all. So, yeah, that's me for this week. Unless you wanted to hear about Battletoads, but I don't think anybody does.
Oh, ooh.
I mean, I think everyone wants to hear about Battletoads, right?
Really, I think it's what we all predicted. It's not great. It starts off thinking. Oh, I started off thinking it was like, oh, this could be fun. This is like dressed as like a Saturday morning cartoon. It's a bit like Ninja Turtle-y, nowhere near as funny,
Clever.
but it's got a few laughs, few jokes. The brawling's okay. It feels okay. They got some good quality of life things in there. Like drop in, drop out co-op. It's not as punishing. A lot of settings. You can just watch the cutscenes if you want. Don't know why, but and it's really well animated, so it feels like it felt like a licensed game. I think that's basically it. It feels like a licensed game where it's like we've got this. Someone make a Ninja Turtles game. Someone make a Battletoads game. Just do it, and somebody did, and this seems far more polished than any of those licensed games. But it's like.
Still a licensed game.
Who made this?
Yeah, Rare. I want to know how big the team is who worked on this, but it was Rare. I imagine it's a very small team because they have some people on Sea of Thieves, they have some people on their new game, which name escapes me, Everwild or something like that, which looks beautiful, by the way. But it must have been a small team. But yeah, it's. I could see this being like. If you were 5, this being your Battletoads, because people are still like crazy about Battletoads. I've never played it. I have no connection.
You've got no
that
attachment
series.
to it.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah, so it's like how people rave like, oh, Battletoads was really, really good, like, and it's like, no, it wasn't. I've never played it, but everyone knows it wasn't. But this could be that. This could be that for like. This generation,
the current kids,
that Battletoads. Yeah, it's like I played that Battletoads game. I like that Battletoads game, and then 30 years later they found out it was awful.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's got, as I say, good animation. Didn't know what was happening in the plot by the end, but it was a good podcast game. Except when it starts off as like a competent enough brawler. Except it wasn't like Streets of Rage where. You could tell they planned on how to make each encounter interesting and balanced. This just seems like there's a bit too hectic and they just throw everything at you.
Right.
But yeah, they over-relied on crappy little mini-games. Like, they have like the same biking things, except it's seen as like... they shifted perspective from side-on to you can see it in front of you.
Right.
And that sequence lasts literally about 15 minutes of just that. Over and over again. And that's like every minigame. It's like, you have this hacking minigame. Oh, that was awful. We have this... The best minigame was like this Space Invaders kind of one, which was that... Well, it was more like a shmup. It was more like Gallagher or something like that. It was actually pretty fun. But everything lasted for at least 20 minutes longer than it should have. I think they just dragged it out. They had this like I could only go a foot, and then they just dragged it over like a mile, and it's like we don't need this.
Brilliant.
Just make the game like 2 hours long.
But they can't. But it's a first-party game. They're not allowed to put out fucking a little 2-hour experience.
You know what I will say though? I really like that Microsoft's first party lineup, their games are different.
Yeah.
Because Sony, whilst they are tremendous games, it is the sad dad game every single time. The third person, really good looking, realistic graphics, but it's a sad dad game every single time. I like the fact that I can get Battletoads and Microsoft Flight Simulator in the space of a week and be happy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think
I like variety in my diet sometimes,
and I think that's part of the difference with PlayStation as well. They're not looking to flesh out, or at least from what we've seen, they're not looking to flesh out their sort of like their first party studios with these smaller experiences. They're just buy them and say, we just want the rights to this one game, please, like Fall Guys. To fill out that slightly more family friendly. No, it's console exclusive. Yeah. So I think they're two very different approaches, and we've seen that completely with Microsoft and Sony moving into this next generation as well. Two very different approaches.
Yeah, but it's in the space of a month. It's Flight Simulator, Battletoads, and Wasteland 3. That's insane. Yeah. Something for everyone. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's really good. And it's again giving slightly more value to Game Pass as well. The people who want to play Battletoads.
Because I wouldn't have played Battletoads or bought it otherwise.
Exactly, and those people who probably want to experience this new Battletoads, why wouldn't they just pay for Game Pass rather than buying the game and then just keep it going? So because like Flight Simulator, I probably would have looked at it and said that seems cool and not played it, but now I'm at that point where it's like, if this disappeared from Game Pass tomorrow, I'd probably buy, a copy of it, because, that game's real fun. Not playing it, just putting it in autopilot.
I was going to say, are you the one who just enjoys...
Yeah! Watched a whole flight from this, little dinky plane. Took about 2.5, 3 hours from... I think we flew from Guatemala and over Belize and landed on this tiny little island in Honduras or something. It was great. It made my computer really loud.
So your computer is now an aeroplane as well?
Yes. Genuinely.
It's joined the PS4.
Yeah. In the airplane family. Turbojet family.
Yeah, I was gonna say it needs to come out on PS4 for the realism.
You could just
a sonic boom sound. Yeah, they called it the Xbox One family, and that's the Turbojet family. PC and PS4 and Pro.
So they're gonna next generation. They just get rid of all of these little code names, and one will just be Harrier. The next one's F-14. Just lean into it. Lean straight into it.
Yeah, and then one of them could be the Concorde, and they're this model will be limited edition, and then it will decommission it because it's just more cost effective to make a poorer one that's less entertaining.
Yeah, like the Xbox One
X. Yeah. Oh, they've already done it. Damn.
Brilliant. Before we move on to more beers, I thought we'd just touch on my topic, because I posed a question earlier to both of you.
Oh, I didn't write
and
it down.
maybe we
written it down.
Did you have to? You didn't have to write it down. It's fine.
You said on a literal piece of paper, and I was like, really?
How about a piece of paper?
I did say that actually. Yes, I did say write it down on a piece of paper. And I thought maybe we could just lean in. Maybe Aadil, you can give us yours after I've sort of explained it before we open beers. I said, talking of Lucy mentioning it, franchise games, we've suddenly got all of these franchise games coming out. We've got an Avengers game coming out this year. We've got Batman's Friends coming out next year. We've got Batman's Enemies coming out the year after that.
I wish it was called Batman's Friends.
But it's not even Batman and his friends, is it? Because
no, Batman's Friends.
Just Batman's Friends.
I didn't watch the trailer to that one.
What's it called?
I watched the Suicide one. Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights, yes.
I believe it's pronounced Knigget.
Gotham Knickets. So we have these franchise games all coming out, very obviously superhero based, Marvel, DC and stuff. So we don't have a huge amount of tie-in games that come out anymore. That seems to have passed from us. And I didn't pose the question so much as what tie-in game would you like, but what franchise would you like to see a game from, and what kind of game would you like to see? And Aadil, we'll start with you, even though you haven't written it down. I assume you've just got it all. Yes,
in his brain.
There it is. There it
Oh,
is.
wow.
H2G2.
I can't read. I can't see it. Can't read it. It's too blurred.
H2G2, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Ooh.
And I want it to be an open. I mean, I also wrote open world space exploration, but I was literally writing as you're talking, and I've got terrible legibility, so we won't bother with that. I just wasted a piece of paper in my philosophy talks notebook, which has 4 pieces of paper left. Yes. I think Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I loved the Infocom game, but obviously that was a very different game. The Starship Titanic game was interesting as an adventure game set in a small setting that had the similar type of writing and humor. I would love to be in that universe and to just kind of travel, not worry about the plot of the game so much as like the world. And obviously open world / open universe would be really cool. And like you could hit the big hits, and you could like go to Earth in the past, and if you did the plot the right way, learn how to fly, and then you'd have that ability of falling and then just missing the ground. In other places, and that might, give you different experiences in different worlds, but just something in that like tone of tongue-in-cheek, making real some of life's absurdities, but meandering, like kind of embracing the open world thing rather than what so much AAA does, which is open world for the sake of it, but then railroad you in a plot. So the open world seems either overwhelming because the plot is just unnecessarily spread out that you get lost, or completely unnecessary because if you want to do the plot, you just ignore half the world. And it's like, oh, what if it kind of was just being a hitchhiker and like you have your towel and you just go?
So you want Next Stop Nowhere? You want that, but blown out.
Yeah, kind of.
Like a budget.
Yeah.
A bigger team. Yeah.
Or is it that I want whatchamacallit, that big Sony game that everyone
Sad
hated?
Bad. Sad Bad.
Sad Space. What the hell was it called? No Man's Sky. I kind of want No Man's Sky without the mining, right? Just like a procedural generated infinite world that you kind of just bounce around for no reason and look at things.
I'm only going to call that game Sad Space from now on.
I'm down. I used to call it No Man's Sky, but I think No Man's Sky is worse than Sad Space.
I love a Game Pass game. I should check that out. Even though
Is it on Game Pass? I own it on Steam, I think, and apparently all I've heard is like every 6 months they put out a new patch that makes people who bothered to stick with it come back to it for like a month or so, which is pretty good. I do own it.
After their initial kind of maybe 6 months, maybe a year, people have gravitated back towards it. There's lots of people out there who will say it's a fantastic game.
Yeah, and when they were starting to do the updates and stuff like that, and they launched like, I don't know, it was like No Man's Sky 2.0. There was a lot of hubris coming from them, and I'm like, slow your roll, guys. But now I think they deserve it. It's like, pat yourselves on the back. You're being serious some crap, and they stuck with it, and it's a much better game now. So
what I don't get is how they're affording to keep working on huge updates,
like gangbusters on PS4. That's why, because they ostensibly like everybody.
So I mean, I guess
and it works. So go for it.
Yeah,
like
I guess
every AAA publisher lies. So you know what? Fair play to them.
I think you're right. They've built up that war chest to allow them to kind of.
I guess it's the like, hey, we're in late stage capitalism, and they're doing this. They're not being like, cool, we made the money. How do we make the money? Or they're smart and they realize the only way people might buy a second game is if they do this one properly.
Yeah.
And then go, hey, this is the next one. These are the features we definitely have. We don't want to make the same mistake. Look, we made good on our roadmap.
Yeah,
blah.
they unbesmirched the name of Hello Games, which is fantastic.
Absolutely, and they've got a little. I can't remember the name of it, but they've got another game coming out, haven't they?
Campfire?
Oh,
yes,
do they?
yes, they do.
Yeah,
Which is
I love the look of that.
yeah, it looks beautiful. It's only come from I think they suggested just a very small team within Hello Games, only a few people, I think. Which is it this year?
Huh. Sorry, I just remembered that they're in
Yeah,
Guildford,
it's
which is where
okay.
Ford Prefect pretends to be from in Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah.
I see. It's not whatever this game is. It's not on their page yet. They only have Joe Danger, Last Campfire, and No Man's Sky.
It's called Last Campfire.
Yeah, the Last Campfire.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
the one? Oh,
Mm.
okay. For some reason, I thought that had already come out.
Maybe
I'm
we did.
just
Maybe we
wrong.
missed it completely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is there
it was
anything-
supposed to come to PC, PS4, Switch, and Xbone in summer 2020.
Yeah, I thought
Still
it was this year.
technically summer.
Yeah,
Alright.
Yeah.
just you get what all the
It looks
kids
cute.
what all the kids these days are calling the shadow drop, where it just appears on the store. Yeah, mate.
It probably will. A lot of games are doing that now, and I like it.
Yeah.
Usually on Game Pass.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
you like it because it's a game you don't have to pay for, you just get, yes. But also, yeah, I think that's the way it used to be. Like, growing up, it was never a big thing with, like, paying attention to release dates until much later.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When, like, I'm thinking, like, the Genesis days and SNES, there was a little bit of, like, Mortal Kombat 2 is coming out. But but, like, other than that, it was kind of like, let's see what's on the shelf at Woolco.
Blockbuster. Yeah, that's what I like about Game Pass. It's as equivalent as an experience I'm gonna get from like going to Blockbuster, like just checking the Xbox Game Pass Twitter and seeing what's available today. That's the closest I'm gonna get to those happy memories of using vouchers and getting like 2 games for like.
Oh, mate. You used to all the time
Peanuts.
WH Smith's vouchers or Woolworths or something, some dead high street shop that doesn't exist anymore.
I just Blockbuster, yeah. Just going there after work and just like on a Friday when I don't want to get tanked up with people at work. Just retreat to my nerdy corner and just go to Blockbuster and peruse. Yeah,
Wander the shelves looking for something interesting.
yeah.
Nice.
Sad. I want if there's anything I want in 2021, not a vaccine for COVID, I want Blockbuster back.
Oofa doof.
I had one dream.
You heard it here
One
first.
wish.
That's it. With a lowering population, rental services will only increase.
The opinions of Bruce Norwood do not reflect the opinions and values of Out of Lives Network.
Let's open some more beers.
Yay!
Lucy.
I meant yay!
Lucy.
What, did you have any other ideas other than Hitchhiker's
Oh yes.
Guide?
Oh yeah, that was
Your
wait,
one
that was
idea.
mine. Did we not touch?
Well, I thought
Yeah,
we
we
can
did.
open another beer. We can open another beer and then launch into the rest of
Yeah.
us.
The Last of Us, you say?
Yeah.
Yes. The rest of us too. Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you got? What's
I
next?
opened it
Oh.
before reading it, which was stupid.
Yeah.
Nah.
So now I'm gonna have to hold the can so I don't spill the contents. This is called Heedhunter, and it's a double dry hopped pale from who?
Ooh.
Doctor
By the River Brew Company.
Got the
by the river.
like.
By
Sorry.
the River Brew Company. Yeah,
So it's not by
Kate said.
the River Brew Company. It's by the River Brew Company.
Yeah. Yes.
Am I getting that right? Yeah.
yeah, it's called the River Brew Company.
Oh no, it is
It's on
by.
a
Now I'm
because
totally.
it's on like a separate line, so I'm not saying if this is saying it says brewed and canned in the UK.
Yeah.
Finish line. Next line. By the River Brew Company. So I think it is just the River Brew Company.
No, they are called by the River Brew Company.
Company.
Okay, it's very confusing then. Right.
Without looking too much, is this the brew company that's owned by Wylam?
Don't say that anywhere on the can.
Or funded in some way by Wylam.
No, they're an independent container settlement which lives and breathes beneath the iconic Tyne Bridge on the Gateshead side of the river. Consists of a brewing tap room, truck hall, and the backyard bike shop. Oh, they're like super not owned by someone.
Very, very indie by the sound of it.
Yeah,
but,
I'm sure there's.
Oh wow, this place
there's
looks like fun.
A brewery that's a very similar name, which has some association.
They're just
with,
the River Brew.
Wylam.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you mean the River Brew Company?
Not by.
God, we're dumb.
Yeah.
Next door to them in Gateshead, obviously.
Yeah, if it wasn't abundantly clear, I've never had a beer from these guys. So.
Oh yeah, the River Brew Company. They're by the River Brew Company.
Yeah. You are going to confuse me. It's 4.5%. This is 440ml can. Cannot. Weird. What is this?
Oh.
I cannot tell.
Oh, well.
Like some. May not be that clear. Like Cthulhu-esque monsters or something. What is it? Yeah, it looks like. I have no idea. I'm not even going to guess. But it's weird and I like it. The design is by Realize. Realize.co.uk.
Real Eyes or Realize?
Oh, Jesus.
Real Eyes. REAL space.
What are words?
EYES, yeah. This can is confusing.
It is Realize, not Realize. I take it back.
True Lies. It's got Centennial. It's got Centennial Cryo, Citra BBC, and Mosaic BBC hop. 4.5%. Please, let's move on.
I'm sorry if I picked the microphone on that laugh, listeners and viewers. Caught me off guard and is entirely correct sentiment.
Aadil, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a beer we've done before, but I did the research. It is a beer we did in Tanked Up episode number 67.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I didn't feel bad about having this in my... So I actually grabbed it just because it was a hot day.
67 must be before the Lucy times.
And this is pre-Lucy.
It
is the Arbor...
1989.
Hey.
When we were wee.
Yeah, it's the I Speak of the Trees American Pale Ale. I can't remember. I didn't actually look too hard whether this was when... I think it might be when Alex, you and I were like all three splitting several beers in the living room.
Yeah.
But anyway, now I'm just having it. So
you get that full pint can to yourself.
Yeah, basically. So it's a 5%, 568ml can, refreshing and easy drinking American Pale Ale, brewed with Amarillo, Mosaic, and Simcoe hops. Yes. And yes, they are local to Bristol, if you didn't know. I used to live around the corner from them. I do miss that. And I actually don't remember the last time I had I Speak for the Trees. And that's why they have various arbors at the little grocer down the road from me. And I was just like, oh, I haven't had that in a long time. And I was like, wait, I might be able to do this on the pod.
Nice.
Oh. Which can is that? Just, I want to see the can.
Sorry.
Oh, the
orange one, yeah. You're trying to, yeah, because do you do what I do, which is know Arbor by their cans and not their names? Yeah. I've had that blue one before. And then I was Googling, like...
Waitikamita or...
Rocket Man. That's a blue one.
And then there's now I can't remember what. Yeah, there's the rainbow one which I really like, but I don't know what it's called.
My Little Sabroni.
Oh, My Little Brony or Sabroni. Yeah.
I've not had that one.
That's a newer
it's really
one.
Good.
It's very nice.
I've got one downstairs. I think it might be the baked Alaska one.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember.
Which is the like beigey, creamy coloured can, isn't it? Yes.
That colour, yeah. Yep. We know this too well.
There we go. I drove past them today. I thought about them. I thought about how this weekend coming up should be the East Bristol Brewery Trail, but it ain't, because obviously it's not.
Sad times, man.
I mean,
to be honest,
I think
weather is garbage.
we might have to find an afternoon and just go to a store, buy like 4 pints of Bristol beers, and then at a 2 meter distance wander around Easton.
Just wander the streets looking, yeah, absolutely. We
Just
won't be the only ones, it's fine.
Staggering around, yeah.
Good, right. I'm going to open this beer. It is a Deya. It is Sound Machine Groove. It's an 8%.
Jump through your screen.
Double IPA. Here it is, Lucy. Here it is. It's got text all over the place. Of course it does. Juicy double IPA with Citra, Nelson, Idaho 7, and Brew 1 on the dry hop. That's pretty much all I'm getting.
I can already tell it's going to be great.
Ooh, it's got some lovely, I don't know, frog people.
Some lovely frog.
It is. It's Battletoads after a fucking long weekend, isn't it? Like, they've just been drinking all weekend. They defeated their nemesis. They've just drank and drank and drank, and now they're fucked.
Nematodes? Does that work? Is that a thing?
Maybe.
Don't think it is. Sorry.
Ooh.
Oh, it's bad pour?
No, just the nose instantly. Lucy, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, I had a little sip. Similar in look and colour to the last one. Like light straw, quite hazy. It's almost it's pretty much almost opaque.
Oh wow, that looks like squash.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, there's a little light bleed at the bottom, but yeah, it's sort of worrying me because like the last one doesn't have much head, can't see much carbonation, but this has kind of a bit of a more funky kind of aroma, citrus. Still getting that though. Yeah, it's got a nice smell to it, taste-wise. You are getting, let's just say Mr. Pine has come back.
Oh yeah.
You are getting a lot of pininess on that. A lot of resin, a lot of pine. It's got like this fresh kind of cedar-like taste. It's really, really that in the front. Not so much fruit. But I like that. I like piney, resinous beers. It's got a nice bit of bitterness at the end. Not too much, not overpowering, but yeah, it's got a nice mix of a little bit of fruit, a little bit of light citrus, a lot of pininess, a little bit of bitterness at the end. Yeah, I'm definitely getting those hops though. I put 3 hops in there. What was it? Centennial, Mosaic, and Citra, was it? Yeah, so yeah, those hops are showing their worth in this. It's got a lot more body and more hoppiness than the last beer, which I like. And yeah, this is really well balanced. It's really light. What was it, 4.5? Yeah, 4.5, so a little bit lighter in the ABV than the other one. But yeah, I think this, don't want to, show my hand too early, but it's definitely more of an all-rounder than the previous one. Much more well-balanced, but it does tip the scale on the pininess, but I like that, so.
We do like a good bit of beer.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look out for these guys, because this is really good first impression.
Nice. Good. Aadil, we'll come back to you.
So, poured quite orangey dark. I love this color. You can, here, let me put it closer to the light though. It's just got this lovely sort of, a little more golden than honey. It's I think the lighting is betraying that it is a little see-through. Like I can see it myself and just have too strong a light source that way, I think. You can tell it's a ring. The head was quite prolific, so I had to wait until it settled, then it sort of went away. It had this really nice, sweet, I almost want to say slightly like floral and a bit of citrus, just wafting on the pour. Now I'm getting closer. I'm getting a lot more. I'm getting a little more. Like I like grapefruit, like a little bit of tartness with that citrus, and whatever the floral note was there on the pour is being overpowered by that. But it's quite delicate. In general, I just get this like sweet citrus on the nose, anyway. Oh, that's a full-bodied beer. And by that I mean like it really filled my mouth. It's not viscous. It's just like a lot, like the rush of between the bubbles and the taste. It's just like, oh yes, I had a half sip and it felt like I had a good quality taste of this beer. It's maltier than I would have thought. Like I literally can't remember last time I had this beer, so I had no sort of suspicions or expectations. That's a word. Expectations or suspicions without the negative context. Yeah, so it's got this sweetness. It's like almost tangerine sweetness throughout. That you don't really notice until the finish that it's been there the whole time, because you get this like low-key citrus, really light note, and then that fades really quick. It does, and then hits a little more of that grapefruity taste. Again, just a slight tartness, and then it's just this malty backbone. Just like, yep, it's malty. My mouth is a little dry. Like it tastes like it's drying out with like a layer of this tangerine sweetness on top. But actually, if I move my tongue around, I'm not actually being dried out. It's just this. I think it's this transition to the maltiness. Yeah, and this drying taste that just makes me like, oh, I better sip more. But I don't. If you like have awareness, you're like, no, my mouth isn't dried out. It's just that like that transition of taste, just sort of pull, and the fact that it goes from some interesting sort of florally, grapefruity, citrusy things going, and then like, hey, this is actually quite malty.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I feel kind of drained. Rather than it is draining. It's a really good beer though. Like it's just we'll see how I am with the rest of the pint, but it's now even just after talking about it, I'm not feeling that that drying out as much. So I think I just needed to get used to that gear change. But boy, did I not remember how much there was a maltiness to this beer. Which, you know, I think the flavor text just mentioned Amarillo, Mosaic, and Simcoe hops. But not really anything else. But I feel like they're interplaying well with the malts. And again, the tail end of the finish is this sort of maltiness with this slight tangerine-y, citrusy sweetness.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds right from my recollection. I haven't had that one in a while.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time, whenever we have an Arbor beer, we don't realise quite how they lean into their malts. Arbor very, very well do that. Same as same as something like Good Chemistry, same as someone like Moore. We have these breweries in this area of Bristol which really do lean into their malts very, very well.
Yeah.
And
I'd say Good Chem like a lot.
Yeah.
And
it gives their beers a quality which, you know, lots of people are chasing sort of the hops, and I think they've just gone, well, let's balance these out a little bit more. It just gives it a slightly different feel to a lot of the stuff on the market.
Alright, stop bragging about Bristol. Alright for some.
Lucy, how's yours? We've
had
you.
Right.
Have we had you?
Yeah.
Oh, we have had you.
Yes, we have.
Fucking hell.
The order's too hard.
I've only had a couple of sips of this 8% one already. Let's come back to me then. Deya, Sound Machine Groove. It is lovely. Of course it is. It's very, very thick. Just pure thickness in a glass. When I cracked the can, it had this lovely, slightly fruity but very, very dank nose to it. And sort of you stick your face in the glass, and it just the aroma just wafts towards you, and it matches very well in the flavour as well. So it does have a slight viscosity to the mouthfeel. It's maybe not quite as thick as it kind of looks. It's not quite as soupy as perhaps it looks within the glass. It's a little bit lighter than that, but the juiciness, the fruits kind of come straight off, and it feels like there's this balance trying to happen between this little bit of pineapple and a little bit of melon as well, and it kind of very easily leans a bit more into that melon and through into grapefruit by then hitting a danker sort of note with a light, slightly piney bitterness coming out of that sort of that dank flavour that it has to it. And it flows, unlike the last beer which was kind of, here are the things that are happening, this just takes you through and flows very, very well, bringing out those flavours and then saying this is next, but it merges with the previous flavour in this way, and then this happens and it merges again with the previous flavour. Like, very, very well made. Cannot tell it's 8% at all. Don't have that kind of, alcohol sweetness. Don't have anything in here which would suggest that, apart from perhaps that slight viscosity, that slight fullness to its body, rather than, it's not a thin beer whatsoever, but it's very easy, and that combination of those kind of melon, grapefruity flavours works very, very well. And that as we were saying, we like a bitter beer. This is a very, very subtle bitterness, because it has that dank, that hoppiness, that kind of that wetness to it right in the middle, and that just opens you up to a very, very slight, light bitterness, which just runs along very nicely with it. It's a 500ml can, as all Deya kind of releases are. It's going back far too quickly. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to drink it. And I'm going to come to you, Lucy. I'm going to come to you, Lucy, for your take on what franchise you would like to see as a game. Well, I just drink this and say nothing more today.
I don't think you can say nothing more.
Try me. Since Ben. Yeah, mine are probably just... I did write mine down.
Oh, let's see it.
Let's I'll run through these.
Ooh.
Time. 2 minutes.
To minute.
That's backwards. It's backwards.
Yeah, why is it backwards?
Oh, is it backwards?
I mean, I know why it's backwards, just because obviously... I don't know how it's taken me this long to notice that The Last of Us... My brain has always just reinterpreted that the right way around.
Oh, I had no idea.
It's really funny. God,
but, it actually says, if you read it the other way around, TMNT. Which, I mean, you were talking about, like, the DC stuff, so... My mind went to, like, the Injustice games, and I was like, when they put their titles in that as DLC, I was like, I want a kind of gritty-ish, not too much. I want basically the tone of, like, the film, the first film, where it's like, this is very dark and actually dark, because it's like the rubber would have shown up too much, but it has like a bit of grittiness to it, and like, but it's still like the Turtle, so it's quite light-hearted. I want that kind of game.
There's a lot of humour in there.
Yeah. That kind of tone in a game where it's not some crappy live service game where one person is each turtle. It's not even going to have co-op. Maybe co-op. I'll allow local co-op.
Co-op, yeah.
Couch co-op only. not multiplayer. Basically, I don't know, the turtles got separated in time somehow, and you play.
I've heard this story before. I've heard the story in video game and cinematic form.
And you play as every turtle in
At the same time, it's like a manual thing.
It's like you start off as like, I don't know, Leo, and he's looking for his brothers, and you start off with Leo, and then like, oh, chapter goes to, oh, where's Raph or something like that, and where's Mikey, and then eventually they start gathering, and then you can control all of them, like just swapping in and out of each of them and stuff like that. I don't know. This is my
almost like a side-scrolling brawler, but you have Marvel, like combo moves where you have like a Marvel vs. Capcom game or Tekken Tag where you can tag in, so you can do a combo move with one, press the button, and that brings another one in, and you instantly switch to that character.
Which they kind of do in like Injustice. I want that in like a 3D world. It's sort of like single player only. I would have had like Rocksteady do it before I realised they were trash circa 2015 and again in 2020. But
yes,
yeah.
I was thinking like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance, where if you do it in like the arcade mode, it has all on the screen and you can swap between them. But then if you do it in like RPG, I call it, you just one character you play it through, and then it can join you. And it sounds like you kind of want the idea in certain scenes they'll be around, and you could be like, now I'm Donnie, and I'm going to do this thing, and then I have to get together, and they do the shell squish thing that they did to Tatsu in Secret of the Ooze.
You almost nice.
Can
you? Wait, Splinter.
What?
Can he just be like a special move, and he just comes out of nowhere, fucking destroys people and leaves again?
Because you're looking for him, he's lost in time.
Splinter is like we're gonna. I want like I was watching a speedrun of like Arkham City over the like SGDQ, and those games were so good. The first two, and I just want it in like that kind of universe.
Mm-hmm.
And
right,
you got from Rocksteady, and they're like some of the bosses. And, yeah, I want that kind of like grit. Yeah, but that's my fantasy that'll never happen. The second one, very obvious, is can you?
Scissor Craft.
Yeah, I want Jurassic Park. I want in Dino Crisis form.
Oh my god,
that would be better.
Jurassic Crisis.
Yes.
Jurassic Crisis Park.
The last one.
Who are you? Hang on. Wait a minute.
Muldoon, of course.
No!
Shoot! That's the only line he says throughout the whole game as he fires his gun constantly.
You can be some randomer. It doesn't have to have like. I just want the score of Jurassic Park in a Dino Crisis game.
That's fair.
Basically, yeah.
That's fair.
The last one, I was just like, let's have a really left field one. Wonder if anyone's gonna get this obscure thingy.
Oh.
Fargo? Zombieland?
Fuck.
I see land.
Fabuland.
Yeah.
Is that like a fabric store that was in around your neighborhood when you were growing up?
It was actually Lego.
What?
It was set in like
Fabuland.
Yeah. It had a. I don't know how long the run was, but it was basically like your version of Animal Crossing, where it's like there's hippos, there's lions. In like
I remember this.
You remember this?
Yes. Yeah, I used to have a boat with them all, like a paddle boat with them all on. I used to play with in the bath, mate. I remember that.
I want like something that's a hybrid.
Oh wow, these things are so cool.
Sims, Animal Crossing, and the Lego games.
Nice.
Before that gameplay got scale.
I know I could be fancy with overlays and things, but I'm just gonna do this.
Oh, you see, they have their own and there was a TV show as well.
Yeah, you could GTA this.
Mhm.
You could steal a hippopotamus's face and ride it through town.
Yeah. There's the left field.
That's how GTA works, right?
Absolutely.
I know video game.
I am video game player.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Those are my 3 pictures.
Nice.
Okay, I only did one.
I
didn't realize I was supposed to do more than one. Now I feel bad.
I've only done. To be fair, I've only got one.
I mean, I have another.
Okay.
But I know it's coming out, and it's really lame. But it when I found out that they were making Magic the Gathering action RPG, I was like, that is so me in junior high, like Diablo, but with magic characters. Sign me the fuck up.
What are you, a planeswalker? Something like that?
I don't think you are. I don't know. There's very little information. If you are, I don't think you're going to be the main planeswalkers. I don't want that.
Like, come out.
Who knows? It all got pushed. It was supposed to come out soonish.
Who's making it?
I am going to look that up. But I don't want my OG Magic times had nothing to do with Planeswalkers. Planeswalkers were well after my time.
That's like a mid 2000s thing, isn't it? Planeswalkers, maybe even later than that. 2010s, maybe.
No, it's like mid to late 2000s.
Whilst you lot talking about magic lore, I'm using the toilet.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll be back for your suggestion, man.
Good.
Yeah, cool. I'll vamp about this. Yeah, so it's called Magic Legend. It's a free-to-play action RPG by Cryptic Studios and Perfect World Entertainment, which is a Chinese-owned live service game studio.
Ooh, okay.
And they've done things I've not heard of. They did the Torchlight mobile game.
Oh, okay.
But Cryptic is Neverwinter Nights, Champions Online, Star Trek Online, so it's the Mamorkova shell with, I think, the mobile stretch of Perfect World, I assume, because if it's free to play, it's going to have monetization, which is when I was like, I don't know what I think about this.
Yeah.
It was going to be a Mamorkova, and now it's just an ARPG, is the big thing, which is an odd shift for a title to go, right?
Sort of, but not. I could understand that, because you could turn an MMORPG into a sort of a role playing game, a squad based or strategy, or even an ARPG quite easily, because you have the world there, you have the questing system all around. It's maybe some end game content, it's the bigger elements which require more players, which you have to sort of strip back to accommodate a single player game.
Oh, I take it back. Apparently it might be an MMO still, or they haven't. So the background info on their webpage says on Google says MMO, but nothing on their site seems to say it. So that might just be, Yeah, so it's ring MMO ARPG, so it's which I think might just be a little more persistent than Diablo instances.
Who's making it? Sorry,
it's Cryptic. The guys who do Cryptic Studios did Champions Online, Neverwinter, City of Heroes, Star Trek Online, and then they're paired with Perfect World. They're a wholly owned subsidiary of Perfect World, rather.
Oh, okay.
Perfect World being a Chinese video game developer who has done a bunch of mobile game stuff. So the key to that game is, let me see if I've lost. Oh, I was right there, and then I clicked the thing because I was talking, not paying attention to what I was clicking. It doesn't matter. Basically, they've got Geomancer and Necromancer and Time Mage to reflect the main Geomancer is probably fire and earthquakes, right? And then Necromancer is zombies, which is basically what most people think of when they think of black, and Time Mage presumably is doing stupid blue mage shit. right? But yeah, so that's the thing that boy, it could go either way. And like,
I feel like
I'm
they
not-
do well with licenses though. That just you reading through their, portfolio. So.
yeah, Cryptic is reasonable. It's more of like Magic the card game is started to sell very expensive cardboard, even more so. Because Hasbro, I think, needs more money. It's very profitable to.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many. I think they probably got a hit on like physical toys in the past X months.
A Transformers Twisted Metal.
Yeah, but like,
That's
there's a lot of adults who play Magic, right? And they would have been online ordering anyway. Anyway, that's a thing for another time. So that was the only thing that I'm curious about, and I think I wouldn't have thought of that. I wouldn't have thought of an ARPG as like a way to actually really live in the lore versus just kind of have the lore being passive, which is what a lot of people view Magic as. It's like, oh yeah. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, now to you, Ben. Welcome back, Lucy.
Mine's it's kind of based on a franchise that Kim and I have been watching over the last few weeks, which is called Hannah
Montana.
No, not Hannah Montana. Who is that? Who's the girl that's Hannah Montana? I can't remember.
Miley Cyrus.
There's enough Hannah Montana games. Yeah.
And they're all probably on Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, probably. It's Hannah, but without the H on the end.
So it's not the palindrome. It's just the.
Yes.
Is this based on? I'll let you.
So it's a film. It's a film from 2010, and they've recently made it a TV series.
On Amazon Prime, right?
Yes, on Amazon Prime, exactly. And basically, it's about a young girl who.
It's Leon.
Well, it's sort of. It's kind of like a young girl who was going to be part of a government experiment, but the guy who coerced her mother into giving the child up at birth kind of becomes her father, takes her under her wing, and trains her up to take down this like government funded project to train like assassins, basically, like teenage girl assassins. And the series kind of expands upon the film a little bit by the second series takes you into like the school where they're all training and actually sends a few of them out on missions and things. And what I want is a game where you play kind of like one of the students in the school and you're going out on these missions. And it's basically Hitman, but rather than it being trying to say like... well, yes, which is something I can relate to.
Yes, I want it to be a teenage girl.
I want it to be exactly. No. So Hitman, I would say for this is like the arcade end of the spectrum. So you can knock someone out, you can steal their clothes, you can take anything. Like I want something which is a little bit more nuanced, where you have to plan stuff a little bit more, where it's not just knock this person out. Like you have to go through this, and yes, you have a target, but you can't just randomly take people out. You cannot just have a steal a disguise to get through it. You kind of have an element of like a planning stage. You're like, right, I'm going to infiltrate this space. This is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to be. This is how I will get into that person's life, and then execute that element. So I want something that's a little bit more strategic, perhaps, than Hitman's kind of element, that you can just do a lot of different things on the fly, and it's a bit more sort of sandboxy in kind of what you're doing. I want something that maybe is a little bit more strategic and a little bit more limited in what you're able to do.
Sounds like a programmer's nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Completely. And it's kind of, I'm sure IO are going to be making this soon. It's fine. It's the evolution of Hitman, is they're going to be leaving Agent 47 behind next year.
Can you imagine?
Who knows, mate? Who knows?
I don't want to imagine what the fallout that would be if he was replaced with a teenage girl, but
they pivot to like teenage girl, and everyone just goes absolutely nuts. One side is going nuts for one reason because they hate it, and the other side is going nuts because they can't fucking keep it down. But it would go fucking nuts. But you could have like IO take this on. You could bring in maybe if IO got bought out by say Sony or by Microsoft, or they got brought in under another publisher, you could have another developer who was a little bit more geared towards like that storytelling element, to allow you to have that kind of that backstory between different scenarios, to allow you to explore the different things that you can do. And it does need to be sort of sandboxy in a way that you want to be able to kind of go up here and be able to take the shot, or infiltrate into this space, or become their friend, or do this sort of thing. And it needs to be open, but it just has that kind of, not realism to it, but a sense of strategy.
Yeah.
Unlike Hitman, where you can go into Hitman, just fucking pop everyone off and bobble about like in a chef's outfit. And
you can change outfits in front of somebody, and they'll be like, "Whoa, where did he go?" So,
exactly. And as like to tie it in with the franchise, like Hannah is this like trained up like super badass fucking assassin. Who lots of it is this like coming of age story and things like that as well. It brings in a lot of elements of that sort of thing as well, and you could tie that in. Even if it was like someone like Don't Nod that came in to do some of the like narrative stuff around that. And actually in the TV series, she actually, whilst it's only for like I don't know, in the TV series like the space of a few days or maybe a couple of weeks, where she kind of like flips sides and joins the school, the training school, and actually goes out on a mission and stuff. You could have that element in the franchise where like this is that 2-week period, or this is an element where we're sending her out on like training missions and stuff to do things, and that could like fill in a gap as such. You don't need to necessarily tie it into that. You could just be one of these other girls that don't get explored within the TV series, as the government program kind of like continues, and they get their like ultimate weapon, plausible, complete deniability, like what teenage girl would be in this position to like pop off some government conspirator or something like
that's always sounds better than like dealing with like the main protagonist, because there's so many more avenues to go down and just finding random auxiliary character. But so you want Dark Angel mixed with Bully, mixed with Rainbow Six Siege.
Somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
I mean,
something like that.
when you say
it's an odd Venn diagram, mate. There's about 12 circles all around, and I need something roughly in there.
Was there a Dark Angel video game? There must have been.
I don't know.
So I don't know why, because it doesn't really make sense given the skill set of Hannah, etc., and like the rawness. But for some reason, this reminded me of Oni.
Yeah.
And I would love Bungie to make Oni again instead of Halo bitches.
They don't make Halo. They make Destiny.
Right. Sorry. Whatever.
Awful Destiny.
Whatever they do, the franchise they do is boring. I definitely. I literally just slammed 2 companies that I'm like, oh yeah, another game by you is coming out, meh, together. But yeah, I mean, Oni was tons of fun.
Dark Angel video game.
Jessica Alba's voice work just fucking... Well, to be fair, would it even be fucking Jessica Alba?
No.
And I was so part of what I wanted with this as well, and part of Hannah is it's not just that idea that you're walking in with a gun and shooting someone. Like, there's a lot of close combat. There's a lot of hand-to-hand sort of stuff. And actually, you could lean into someone like who made like Sleeping Dogs, because Sleeping Dogs, from all of these like open world games, has a really good close combat system.
Yes. Yeah, we've talked a bunch about it.
Yes, yeah, and I'd want that to be kind of like a central element to it, that if things did go south, that you have this really robust close combat system to kind of fall back on. That isn't what you're trying to do. You're not just going around battering people, but you have that like skill, the character has that skill to kind of like fall back on as you know, a last resort almost, to be able to just exit a space or exit a scenario and get out of somewhere. Just you know, it would be like, you know, the scene in Daredevil in the corridor, or like moving up the building in the raid or something like that, where you just have that like one shot where you can just do like all of these close combat moves using the environment to your advantage and just be able to escape ultimately. Like, yeah.
I'll give someone a fiver if they can guess the Metascore for not Dark Angel video game, James Cameron's Dark Angel.
Ooh, shit, 57.
Wait, Metacritic?
Close, Ben?
Ooh.
But lower.
Yeah, I was definitely.
The fact that you got over 50 is kind.
I was gonna say 48 is what I was gonna say.
He got it right.
Wow.
It is 48.
I'm sad that you said your bit before, because I that 40, as soon as you said 57, I'm like, nah, it's like way less. It's gotta be like a 48.
I want to look at gameplay.
That's
anyway.
Lucy stops podcasting to watch YouTube videos of a 15-year-old. God, how long ago? More,
That
right?
must be more than that.
OG Xbox?
2? Yes, OG Xbox. 2002 in North America, 2003 over here. So.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Superstar.
People born that year are 18, they can drink now. People born people born in the year this game was made can now actually watch our podcast.
Not right.
Shut up. Ben? Ben?
This looks alright.
Shut up. Anyway, let's move on from this topic. And
I mean, I don't know why I say this, because like I teach new adults, and I'm always shocked at how young they are.
Yeah.
Like, wait, you were born when? What cultural touchstone doesn't exist anymore? You know what was great for like
you like bust out a Ren and Stimpy quote, and they're like, "What?"
Well, no, like so you teach first year philosophy, and you probably teach some like Descartes, and you think he's got this evil demon argument about skepticism, right? And you're like, cool, this is just like the Matrix, right? How do you know you're not a brain in the vat? There's also a brain in the vat argument, but like, how do you know that you can trust your senses if something isn't just like fucking with your senses? And there's no way, right? Extreme skepticism says fuck you, but like, what the fuck's a Matrix?
Everyone knows what the Matrix is. Even
No,
kids.
These 19-year-olds don't, because Matrix came out in '99 and Matrix 3 came out when they were 4.
Yeah, but I know what a flux capacitor is. I know what a Wookiee is.
Oh, but Wookiee's not fair, because that has.
Yeah, but the Matrix is.
It's not the same.
Lucy, you're a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
But
this is why you know these things.
But I still know what. Like I know Ghostbusters, even though it's not a ghost.
I mean, yeah, but that's because there's been like 7 remakes in the past 5 years.
Also, the animated series.
Something as big as the Matrix, they should surely know. You know, I'm not asking them to know about what was the other one that came out around the same time as Matrix that was like the Matrix but not very good, and it had like an X in the name.
Oh, I don't know. Existence.
No.
Existence?
Yeah.
Existence was like a David. Wasn't it a Fincher movie?
It was
Cronenberg. It's a Cronenberg.
Aeon
Yes,
Flux.
it's a Cronenberg movie, yes.
Was it like Aeon Flux or something?
Oh yes, Aeon Flux. Yeah.
I mean that was based on a real violent.
Yeah, I'm not asking them to know that.
Sorry. You cut out a little.
2005 or anything else. I don't know, but I'm not asking them to know. I'm just saying I'm not asking them to know anything like niche. The Matrix is pretty big.
Christian Bale's Equilibrium.
I'm saying that don't.
It's part of common nomenclature.
Existence did come out in 99 though, right?
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know whether the Matrix is, because it's been so long. Like, yes, as Aadil says, like Ghostbusters has had some resurgence, and there are various things. You know, Back to the Future is kind of one of those that occasionally gets talked about in sort of like terms of a reboot and stuff. The Matrix kind of happened and then stopped.
But it's like when someone says part of the Matrix, that seems like it's coming to like.
That's just because people. Yeah, but it's
everybody.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think it has.
You know what I mean? Not the way that like they've seen the movie, but they should. But they could be aware of it, because something like that has become like nomenclature. It's like in the lexicon of people, like in the Matrix, and people know what that means. Like people who may not have even seen the film know that saying or something like that.
Well, it'd be interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting to understand. People know the saying, but don't understand where it comes from. What is that time frame for that? Because there's lots of sayings these days which relate back to like the 18th century or something. We don't actually know what as an extreme example of like 100-year period as such, like sayings where we don't know what the kind of like the original reason was. It's like I only realized or only found out that the saying "to make ends meet," meaning that you were very poor, was actually because you'd only earned enough money to get the offcuts from a butcher's. That's the only meat you got, was like the offcuts and the end bits, and that's kind of like where that came from. And like I never knew that, but it's definitely something I've probably used at some point. At what point does that like enter the Matrix, being in the Matrix kind of idea proliferate into just the zeitgeist so much that the meaning behind it, or where it comes from, has kind of been lost a little bit by the people actually using it? And they understand the concept, but they don't know the origin or where that has.
You see, like in that sense, yes, I fully agree with you. But when you're talking about like something like Into the Matrix is like TM, that refers to that movie.
Yeah.
Making ends meet is like more of a
generality. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
But I do think there's a lot of slang that like we use from pop culture that just
kids won't know. And I don't expect them to know, but I just thought like maybe not even seeing like the Matrix, but like knowing that's
the thing
that exists. Yeah. Like I've never seen Gone with the Wind or but it's like I know quotes from that film.
Sure.
Yeah. I know it exists, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, Gone with the Wind is literally the biggest film of all time by box office gross, and The Matrix 1999 is not.
Yeah, but I just feel like The Matrix is like kind of like
but it's not. I guess the point I'm trying to make is it was huge for people around our age, because it was huge then, and it had a lasting impact on how sci-fi and visual effects happened. But it doesn't replay, and it doesn't have the cultural longevity in the same way like a Star Wars does.
I think The Matrix does have that.
I'm saying at least
not as much.
Sampling of the young people I interacted with over the past couple of years via teaching them, it was like, oh, and some of them, it's not like none of them knew, right? But it was just like, oh, this isn't the universal in the way that, like, when I first started teaching, it was.
Yeah.
But luckily, they're making a fourth film, and so it'll all be moved, but then it'll come back to being good.
Because the second and third are such roaring successes. But
that's it. It's just Keanu Reeves constantly just going, whoa, 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 just over and over again. He's just completely astounded by everything. Can't take any of it in. It's in real time. It's just an hour and a half of him learning different things within the Matrix.
Maybe
that would be kind of great.
Maybe John Wick 4 is the same as
Matrix 4?
Maybe the same.
Mate,
That would be
imagine
amazing.
that. Fuck, that would be fucking amazing. That really would. Fucking
And
hell.
then tie it into like you are in the Matrix. You're just in the Matrix watching John Wick.
Yeah, it turns out the programmers, like the programs that run things, got bored, and that's why the third one's off the rails compared to the first one.
Well, that's but
like,
you could tie it in. You could tie it in so well. Like Neo didn't die. They re-entered him into the Matrix, but he'd been out of it for so long and done so much stuff that they needed to give him this hyper-violent, completely unrealistic kind of job and scenario to keep him contained within the Matrix. Fuck.
As
Next
I said,
week, tune in as we merge more franchises together.
It only works with the Matrix, but they're going to say, Neo, you know Kung Fu, but do you know Gun Fu?
Hey.
Done. I'm sold.
Burns there.
I'll pay 40p to go to the cinema for that. That's how much it cost in 1999, wasn't it? Well, maybe it was like £3.20 or something.
It genuinely did.
Yeah. Right. I think that probably ends us for this week. Aadil, we didn't manage to get to your topic for the week. Save it for next week.
It's okay. Maybe I might actually finish it by next week if Lucy wants to piggyback again.
Yes.
That might not be a possibility next week because I'm
you're working, mate.
Who knows? I'll tell you off air. But
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, we might. I mean, yeah, it is fine. Yeah, I played a game. It was interesting. I think my 5 hours of sleep, and just 2 hours of streaming, I'm not used to it. I think the two together just made it so that I was like, this is interesting. I'm being a little uncharitable. And I think Lucy rightly pointed out at the end of that, which you can see on the YouTubes when we post it later this week, that I was just getting a little drained. But I suspect I was probably pretty close to the end. Metamorphosis. We'll talk about it next week.
Nice. Cool.
That's cool.
So let's lean back into the beers that we have drank this week. Lucy. I think from kind of what you've said, we know roughly what you're thinking, but give us a bit of a rundown.
The Seeds of Hope from Mothership. It was a decent enough beer. I know you don't like peach flavors or peaches in general, Ben. I don't think the peach flavor was that overpowering. It was a little bit more subdued, so it could be something that you would enjoy. But it was nice. As I said about the Heedhunter, which is definitely the winner for me this week, I was just missing that body and that hoppiness. It was a little flat, a little watery, the Seeds of Hope, whereas the Heedhunter was just a much better balanced beer. It had a lot of pineness, a lot of bitterness, which I like. It had enough citrus, enough hoppiness. I mean, I'm not sure what hops they put into the Seeds of Hope. Don't think it says on the can, no, but those the use of those 3 different hops with the Heedhunter definitely made that the better beer this week. So
Nice.
Good beer. I will look into this brewer more, who seem to have a very indie outfit, which seems fun. So
Nice.
Yeah,
Where
I want to look them up.
where did you get it from?
That was in a Beer 52 box.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
I believe. Yes,
Ooh.
Beer 52.
A recent, like a super recent Beer 52 box?
Yeah, it's actually for their Cyberfest, which is like in 2
was
weeks.
it? Oh, nice,
But,
okay. You've
I'm not gonna wait
lent
to
into
drink
it now? Nah, absolutely not. Nice. Aadil, we'll come to you.
Hi.
What beer did you prefer?
Oh yeah. It's tough. I actually really like both of the beers, for different reasons. So I mean, I said off the top, the Quantic is a session. It's like exactly what I wanted of a session beer. It's 4.7% rather, so it's a little heavier, which I like because I went the closer to 4. They tend to be a little thinner, a little more watery, and I can tell. And this is like, yeah, it's 4.7. It's a little stronger, but like if you're having it in like 3 or 4, you're not gonna really notice that extra 0.5. and if you're doing more than that, you're not really doing a session anyway. And I think that's my like ethos on session beers, and with that comes just a more clean melding of all those tastes. And I really liked that lemon and lime citrus with that pine back end. And I speak of the trees. I'm sad I haven't had this more often, to be honest. Like, it's been years, I think, since I've had it. This is just a really solid APA with a really good malty backbone, I think I called it earlier, and I think I'll stick to that.
Good word.
Yeah, especially for this beer, because it is like the thing that everything hangs off of, and it's there in the beginning, you just don't notice. And then as you traverse down, you're like, oh yeah, that's doing its thing. I think I'm going to go with the Quantic.
Okay.
But like, if you asked me 5 minutes ago, I might have said something else. I think if I think about which one I want a second one of, I'll say Quantic. But also that might just be because I had a tin of the one and a pint of the other.
Yeah.
I would gladly have either of these. And I think I'm gonna seek the orange and black Arbor more often than I have been, because this is it surprised me. I think mostly it's because they do such a good job of like the IPAs and the like the name top beers that I sort of just forgot that, like, oh, actually a quality APA is good, and that's the thing I should. So I think the reason I haven't had it for a while is just because I'm craft beer tuned to certain varieties over other ones, and I know the other ones that Arbor does is really strong, so I just like grab them on default. So this was a really good awakening of, right, yeah, you can have these other types, pale ales and APAs, even if you like sort of strong tastes and interesting taste curves as I do, because this is exactly what this did. Yeah.
Nice. Good. So for me this week, I think it's obvious that the Deya is my pick.
I mean, who would have thought?
And I don't think it's necessarily because the Tanker was it's not a bad beer, but as I kind of alluded to, the Tanker, what are they called? Tanker Brewery from Estonia. It didn't flow in that flavour at all. It kind of presented you with this flavour and then went, here's the rest of it. It's cut off. Suddenly that flavour is gone, and then here is this bitterness. I think the Sound Machine Brew from Deya leans into that juicy double IPA that we haven't had for a little while. It is juicy. It presents these lovely tropical fruits to you. It gives you a dankness. It has a light bitterness afterwards, but that dankness, just kind of that hoppiness, just sits above everything. So you've got these fruits, and then that moves lovely into this kind of like pineness, and actually that dankness kind of just resides over everything else. It just moves and allows those other flavours to work, but also presents itself in various parts. And it's just so well made. It's really, really good. I could very easily have another one right now. It's just, it's it's not too in your face. You don't know it's 8%. You wouldn't pick this as a bigger beer. It's just very smooth, very easy, and it just gives you a lot for what it's doing. So yes, the Tanker Oh My Citra had a little bit to be desired, but the Deya actually is kind of just a step above, a lot of beers, rather than it kind of just being the better beer this week. It is the better beer for the, as far back as my memory goes, which is maybe like 4 days. That's probably about it, really. So yes, I've got another one in the fridge. I might go and crack it in a moment.
Nice.
So yeah, managed to get myself a little pack from Deya. So I've got another beer. I've got 3 actually, of another beer, which I'll have next week from Deya as well. And I'll try I'll try not to drink the other 2. I'll try and make it so the first taste is for the episode, but that probably won't. That probably
that's
won't
not
happen.
gonna
That's
fucking
not gonna happen.
No one thinks that's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, probably not. So, that's us this week. Thank you very much for joining us. Lucy, if people want to chat to you about games that you should play, beers that you should drink, how do they do that?
You can find me at Juicy Loose 9. I'd actually want to have some advice because I'm currently playing Metal Gear 2 in the HD collection because it was something I never went back to.
Oh, prescient, mate.
Yeah, 2020's hottest game. And I'm playing it before it leaves Game Pass. But if I get like the bug to go play Snake Eater, which I doubt I will, but if I do, I own that on Vita. Will my Vita explode if I turn it on? Will the battery have melted?
Nah, that's fine.
I really would know.
I've turned mine on recently.
Okay. That's good to know.
We need more. We need more data for this.
We need a bigger sample. And should I be concerned about this within the next few years? But yeah, Juicy Loose 9 everywhere. You see me on PSN playing it.
Mate, I'm just going to constantly tweet you every day just to play Snake Eater now.
No.
Yeah.
Because I'm skipping every cutscene in Light 2.
What?
Everyone.
But that's like half the
point
that's
of
like
it.
3/4 of the game.
I know.
That's like 9/10 of the game.
To be fair, I've seen the
That's
story.
like 11/14 of the game.
I've seen the story. And I know it's trash, so I'm cool.
Oh no!
It's okay. I watch every cutscene now and then. I'm just like, man, this is so stupid.
Actually, to be fair,
It's
two
stupid.
isn't nearly as bad as the other ones.
Oh mate, but I love how Vamp turns back up in MGS4 as well. Like it just works so well. Oh my god!
I'm just like,
Lucy, don't skip it.
I have to. No, I skip the ones where it's like, oh, they go back in time and start talking about Shadow Moses and Dead Cell. I'm like, I'm not. I don't. No. I'm not watching anything. Even when I skip the cutscene, I'm still like, I haven't played for half an hour and I've skipped every cutscene. And I still haven't played for half an hour. So no, I'm turning a 13-hour experience into a more leisurely 5. So, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I've seen the story. I know it's crap. So I remember it. I remember Fat Man and Vamp and that lady, Olga. I remember it.
Olga Lukovic.
Yes, I'm good.
Maybe.
I'm fine.
What's the guy that has lightning? Oh no, that's 3. That's 3.
Bee hands and lightning are free.
The End, the little sniper who lives in the trees, who actually absorbs fucking light, but didn't need to take all of his clothes off.
I think Kojima has good ideas. He just bogs them down in like so much convolution and exposition to the point where it's like, I'm good. Great director.
Wait till that end sequence where you're running through and like Campbell comes up and just randomly sends you a message on the color like, you need to turn off your console. Something's gone wrong. Like, what? When I first experienced that, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, huh? There's no way this isn't like...
It still holds up.
It does, yeah.
A game of this quality is always going to be good, so yeah. I'm having fun.
Good.
Especially skipping those cutscenes.
Aadil, if people want to get hold of you and talk to you about Metal Gear, how do they do that?
You can reach me at the Omniarch, TheOmniarch, everywhere except Nintendo and Switch and Twitch. Where I'm the _Omniarch in SW. Yeah.
You need to make sure that you're not the Omniarch on itch.io as well, so it can be all of the itches.
I am the Omniarch on itch.
No. Missed opportunity.
No, because now I can say I'm the Omniarch on everywhere, including itch, but not Switch and Twitch.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good.
It's fine. I can get the rhymes in. It's fine. Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's basically it. I might stream more on my channel versus here. But I think I'm generally what you can do is so you can catch us if you aren't live now. You can catch us on Tanked Up. You can catch our live recording Tuesday nights. Wow, really fucking speaking thing. Let's try this again. You can catch the live recording of Tanked Up on twitch.tv/Out of Lives Network every Tuesday at 8, unless we have a special guest that does work with. But you can also catch us at 12 British Standard Time. It's usually me, but we'll be playing games we're reviewing, like the aforementioned Metamorphosis, and there'll be a couple of us, one person driving, another person chatting, and that's basically the source of our upcoming YouTube videos as well. But you can, if you like that content and want to see it live, that's how you can do it on those 2 time slots.
Nice. Alternating, I think, as well, between maybe a Monday and a Tuesday lunchtime, occasionally, depending on kind of what's going on for the day and stuff like that.
I can do next Monday, Aadil, but we'll talk about that off there.
Nice. Remember, you can go to outoflives.net to read other articles, to watch these videos as well. You can see us and our faces on outoflives.net, on our YouTube channel. Obviously, you're probably listening to us through your podcast service of choice. If you have a moment, go over to the rating and reviews section. Give us a rating you feel appropriate, and a review which says, brilliant people, 5 stars. Fantastic.
And like you're going out, leave a review.
Yeah.
Sit at your computer all day and leave 10 reviews.
You could do that.
And like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and follow and sub if you're on Twitch.
Exactly.
Now we have to say all the things.
That's it. I'm at Nova_47 if you'd like to tell me that we don't have to say all of the things anymore. That's us this week. Thank you very much for joining us. We've been Tanked Up. Goodbye.
See you later.
Ciao.
Ooh.
Very ASMR there.
I like the see you later.
www.outoflives.net